Hi, this is Carmen Dalman, and today I'm going to interview an amazing director, editor, filmmaker, gamer, creator, Joel Valley, a friend of mine.
Thank you.
No, thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for inviting me to your home.
Oh yeah. Welcome to my. This is like the man cave here, right?
The office.
Yeah, you see, on that side is all movies. This is all video games. That's
That's the editing.
yeah. We're actually live over here, which is crazy.
I know, and he's hooking up also my YouTube channel, so you guys are welcome to subscribe. I'm gonna upload this video, this interview, on Carmen Dahlman, and I like to say this joke, car men, like a car full of men, and people just can't forget that.
You like that?
Not
She likes cars full of men.
And Dahlman with the H, DAHLMA, and your YouTube channel is.
Media Glitch. That's the video game channel.
There you go.
Yeah, and then film stuff. I don't really have a YouTube film stuff, because a lot of stuff I make, is owned by other people in the end, right?
Yeah.
So, I can't really.
So I'm super excited because once you told me a story about yourself, and I don't know if it's okay for you to share it in public. About you end up being in jail.
Jail?
No.
No.
It wasn't
Well,
you.
I have been to jail. I have, but yes, but they're small little stints. But like before I was, you want to know about the before?
Yeah.
Before I was a filmmaker, yes.
Let's get to know Joel Valley. What happened
Yes.
with him?
Well, I was raised very differently in a drug home. Parents were drug addicts or alcoholics, and I started doing drugs when I was 8 years old. I was 8 years old.
It was because you were curious or because you just were exposed to it?
You know what? It was always around. Yeah, it was everywhere. So it wasn't like hard to get or nothing like that, And one day, I remember the very first time I ever smoked pot, I found a joint that was in the couch. Someone
and you were like, oh, I'm just gonna.
I was like this, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna smoke this, and my sister's like, not without me, and she wanted in on that, and and then by the time I was 10, my mom knew I was doing drugs, and then.
But you were just smoking pot.
Just smoking pot, but then that led to cocaine, crack, acid, all that. The only thing I didn't touch was heroin. At that time.
Good, because it's hard to go back from that.
Yeah.
Hurt.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
I have seen documentaries and stuff about drug addicts, and I think heroin is one of the most difficult ones to get off.
It is it's hard to kick that stuff. So.
How did it? You were so young, but how do you think it affected you? What happened?
Well, by the time I was 15. I had a really bad overdose on acid, and I was put in a mental home. I was diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic, legally insane. Yeah, that's not a good.
At 15.
Doesn't look good on a job application. I'll tell you that much.
You're a baby, 15.
And so I was like in and out of like the mental home. They finally found a medicine that worked well with me and I could live with my mom. But the only thing they asked was that someone from social service had to come check up on me, and there could be no knives and no guns or anything in the house. So we had no steak knives and no.
But the drugs still were around.
What's that?
The drugs were around.
Yeah. They were still partaking of the drugs, for sure. And then finally I actually tried to get a normal life. I actually tried to stay off of drugs. But there were three things that happened. Three major things. One, my stepdad at the time, we don't know why, I still don't know why, he decided to go in the backyard and blow his head off. And
no reason? He was depressed, it was just like that?
I don't know exactly what went down. Because they're older, they're parents, and you just don't know exactly what's going on. All I know is that happened, and that seeing my mom go through, she was just crying, trying to figure out what happened, 24 hours a day, and I didn't know what to do. Now I'll tell your viewers right now, I am a godly man, a Christian man, a man of faith, and but I couldn't tell her, hey, let's pray about this or not. The only thing I could do is like, here, smoke this or snort this. It'll make you feel better. And shortly after that, my older brother, because my dad kind of took off when I was younger. My older brother at the time, well, he was kind of like my dad. He kind of taught me how to lift weights and talk to girls and all that stuff. And so he was in a band in New Jersey, and he's like, hey, my baby boy's born. And he was driving up to show me his baby boy, and he got in a car accident and died.
Oh,
And his girlfriend at the time lost her arm. Thankfully, my nephew is okay. But yeah, and that was a big blow to me, because it's like, no one wants to lose a sibling,
especially that close, and it's
Yeah,
your
yeah,
dad figure, and he was having a baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was I don't know, maybe like, because I was 16 at the time, so he was 23, and he, just someone I admired, someone I looked up to. Still the coolest person I've ever met in my life was my brother. And then to have him just taken away like that really sucked. And then, I lost my brother, but I still had some really good friends and that came around me. One of them's actually in the stream now, and he remembers all this because he lived this stuff through me, but are with me. And
how did it affect you? I mean, I bet your life changed, but did that
yes,
cause you to get deeper in drugs or like
100%? Because what happened was, because he was in a band in New Jersey trying to make it and do that. Once he died, I was like, okay, I'm gonna fulfill his dream. I'm gonna learn to play an instrument. I'm gonna be a rock star. That's what I'm gonna do. And
you wanted to live in him, like
yeah,
not take over, but you wanted to like keep him somehow.
Yeah. And that was one way, just to still have him close by me. But you know what? Crazy as it is, within a year I was already on stage performing for people.
No way.
Yeah. And but with that came women and drugs and problems, and I started to do a lot of drugs. And we were all actually partying at my best friend's house one night, and someone fell asleep with a cigarette, and the house caught on fire. And a bunch of my friends ran to the second story, and they jumped out, and my friend's sister actually broke her arm on the fall. And everyone made it out except my best friend. And his dad, I remember his dad just like with a little garden hose, just shouting for his son. And his dad had to just like sit there and watch his house and his family, his photos and everything, and his son burn. And I remember, because he had took off at one point, and I got in my car and I'm driving around the block, and I find him, and he comes in my car, and it's just silent, and everyone smells like smoke. And I don't know what to say. Again, I can't offer prayer because I don't know this stuff yet. And I remember just sitting in this car with this man that just lost everything. And I was thinking, and I wish there was something I could say. I wish there was something I could do. Because he was amazing to me, that guy. He'd always let me, when I didn't have a place to stay, he'd let me sleep on the couch, stuff like that. And what's crazy is, me and my friends got together. Nothing I did. More of someone hooked this up, and we went door to door. We collected money, and through everything, somehow we were able to build them a new house. And the first night that they moved into the house, the father passes away of lung cancer. And so now I'm like at my fourth funeral. I'm so like, you know, if you would have told me there was a God, I probably would have slapped you, because there's no way there could be a God in this world.
But it keep taken away.
Right,
from
right.
You.
But what I didn't understand is there's a devil as well, and he's just out to steal, kill, and destroy. And so I was like, I just turned to drugs again. But it got worse, like 100 times worse, way worse.
So you got lost in it.
And before I knew it, and you know, I got a friend there who's in the chat. He could tell you, like, I just I went off the deep end. I stopped. I had schizophrenia medicine that I stopped taking. So I started, like, everything started coming back, and I began cutting myself like crazy. Like, if I stood, you could see huge scars all over my body, and even my wrists have been sewn shut.
So you were punishing yourself.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no, because when you have paranoid schizophrenia, there's people you're around all the time, but you don't know who's real and who isn't real. And the only way I knew who was real and who wasn't is to make pain happen. Like to cut myself.
Explain that, because I find it interesting. Like, I understand that you see people that
they're not
may
real.
Not be, yeah,
They
they're
don't
not
know.
there.
Right. And
then there's real people.
Yep.
So a way of identifying them.
To know if they're real, because pain would snap me out of it.
Really?
Yes. So, like, that was one thing. Another thing, the cutting was just probably just like demonic and crazy, you know. And sometimes it felt good, you know.
To feel
Two,
something.
exactly.
Kind of like drugs, like
Yeah.
numbs you, and it feels good not to feel anything.
Exactly.
And pain makes you feel alive.
Right. And so at one point, I ended up cutting myself pretty bad. I almost stabbed this girl. I freaked out. I had a huge freak out, and I ended up in this construction site. I woke up in the morning, and all I had was boxers on, and I was just covered in blood, and I had no idea what happened because I don't remember anything. I have pictures, I have video and stuff of all this. It's crazy.
Wow.
But I have no recollection of what happened unless there's a friend that tells me, hey, this is what went down, you know? And
when do you decide, or when do you wake up and say, this is not the right way of living? What happened?
well,
Because everybody at some point hits the bottom and snaps, or either die or.
see, I was born on the bottom. You know what I mean? I didn't hit the bottom. I was born there. And when I was, I'd been out of the mental home. I'd been trying to live life. Now I'm 20 years old, and I ended up back in the mental home, right? And I was working for a place called Herman Miller, and all I did was I loaded trucks. And so I could go do that job high and drunk, and I would. I'd go in there blasted, and I would do that.
Yeah, because it's physical.
Yeah,
It's like,
and so but when I had that episode, the cops came and took me away, and it was cool because that company actually paid for, my mental health, like to go back in the mental home. But I was working with a guy named Moses Alexander who used to be an ex-drug dealer, and it got radically saved, and at that point he was a pastor, and so he found
selling drugs to people.
Pastor, yeah. And he would always like talk to me and invite me to church, and I'd be like, yeah, whatever, I don't want all that stuff, And eventually, when I went to the mental home, he found out I was there, and he invited me to a church, and I was like, okay, this is my second time back in the mental home. I'm 20 years old. They're gonna throw away the key now, because I'm an adult at this point. Back when I was 15, it was different. Like, now I'm 20, and so I'm like, I seriously thought, I'm gonna go to church, I'll raise my hand, I'll say hallelujah or whatever they say, and I will convince people that God healed me. That was my whole hustle. That's what I was going to do. I was going to use God.
But why? So that you can.
So I could get out of the mental home. Because I didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? And so I end up going to this church. And you know, it's like and a lot of people will understand that's watching this, is like when you go to church for the first time, you feel like you're going to get struck by lightning or something, like, because you're just like so bad. Like, that's how I felt, right?
All my scenes are going to show up on the screen.
Yeah, exactly, right? And I'm like, oh gosh, like God's going to strike me down. And, but when I walked in, I felt something I'd never felt in my life. And it was peace. The peace of God. I'd never felt that before in my life. Like just a calm peace. And I was just like, what is this? This is crazy. And then the pastor's talking.
That made you go back, right? Or did you? Yeah.
Well, I didn't.
No.
So I'm just sitting there. I'm trying to figure out what this is, because I never felt it before, you know. And then the pastor starts talking about how God can deliver you from drugs, and God can deliver you from this, that, and the other, and everything. It was just like he was talking to me. And later, I'm with Moses on another day, and he says, "Did you give your life to God?" And I said, "No." He said, "Why not?" I said, "I don't know. I don't know why I didn't. Like, everything felt great, and everything sounded great."
You fit in. Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? Let's do this. And we prayed together. And when I was praying, I was like, Lord, if you're real, all I want you to do is make me normal. I don't want to cut myself. I don't want to do drugs. I just want to be a normal person. If you're real, just make me normal. Now, he sent me to Mexico to be a missionary for 10 years of my life. So his idea of normal is a little different than ours. But just make me normal, God. That's all I wanted.
So you got out of drugs without any treatment, without any rehab.
Well, here's the thing. When I prayed that prayer, and you can believe me or you can't, I heard God's voice, and he said, your life as you know it is changed. And in 1 second, all the addiction was gone.
You felt the difference.
In 1 second, I cried for like 3 weeks. That's how much the difference was. But in 1 second, everything was gone. The schizophrenia, the cutting, the drugs, everything.
Yeah, because I've heard that when you're addicted, the body's asking for it. And once more.
I never went through withdrawals. I never did anything.
Wow.
It was a 100%, like, totally different. And then I just changed my life. And here I am at 20 years old. My life is just totally changed. I can barely read. I'm very uneducated. I didn't even know what I was going to do.
So how the transition from that to becoming a really good editor and a filmmaker?
Well,
because I met you doing film.
Right.
Yeah, we did a music
You know what's
video
crazy?
together.
So, I casted you in a music video, right?
Yeah.
And we did this music. Do you know that music video is now officially the official music video of that band, and every concert that they play, it plays? Did you know that?
I didn't know.
They came to Albuquerque, picked me up, took me out to lunch. We talked about it. I was like, yeah, play it and everywhere. So, and every time they play on stage, you're on TV, which is crazy, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and so how do I get there, right? So I went to, shortly after, giving my life to God, I went to a Bible school called Christ for the Nations down in Dallas, Texas. I knew nobody. I just went with one pair of clothes that I had, and I just went. And I used my money that I had to get a plane ticket, and I went down there. And, I started to learn about the Bible. And 2 years later, I'd been praying, and I felt like the Lord wanted me to go to Mexico, And so I go to Mexico, and I live with the Otomi Indians and the Nahuatls.
Which part? Which state?
That would be in Pachuca, in La Sierra de Pachuca.
Close to Mexico City.
Right.
Around that area.
Cerca de DF, right?
And that's
s-
where you learn Spanish.
right.
Okay.
Well, my mom is from Monterrey, my
Oh,
family.
I love
So I'm still a Latin filmmaker, even though I look white for some reason. It's just the way it goes.
Ah, come on, Mexicans are like the rainbow.
Yeah, right. Because I've gone up to like total white people thinking they were white, and they're actually
I
Mexicans.
was with my aunt years ago. My aunt, because she doesn't speak any English, right?
Right.
But she's blonde, blue eyes, white,
Yeah.
all that stuff. And then we'll talk to her, and people will look funny because she would like direct me, like, I don't know, what is he saying?
Right.
She speaks English. I don't know anything. Yeah,
You're
and
very
like,
light skinned too. Like
well, to be Mexican, that's what some people say. Like, look,
yeah, like that's crazy.
I get sunburned really easily. It's
See, and I
it's
don't
that
burn.
kind of skin that,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't burn, which is wild.
Yeah,
Like
you're,
when
you're whiter.
when I know I am. Like
You get red.
I do get red,
Yeah.
but I've never had that experience like people talk about
I
where
do,
it's like really
because
bad
I'm in
sunburn.
between white and light.
Yeah.
So it's like I get sunburn and gets like cinnamon skin.
Yeah.
Cinnamon
Right.
skin. Okay, no, keep going, keep going.
So I'm with the Otomi Indians. I'm with the Nahuatls. I'm like taking pictures. Back then, you know, you just had the twisty cameras. You know that.
Yeah, the one that used to roll.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
And like this little hole to see.
And then I would take those, and I ended up getting a computer that had Windows Movie Maker, and I would edit things because as a missionary, I would come back to the States and preach and raise support so I could continue to live with the Indians and I could continue to reach out to them. And
That's what the editing started.
and so I started to edit, and someone's like, "You have a really good eye." Like,
And you do. You're really good at editing.
well, back then I don't know, but like so at the time I'm watching a show called Spaced by Edgar Wright. This is before Edgar Wright made Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Baby Driver, all those. He's just kind of a filmmaker out in England, and we're watching Spaced, and we're watching The Office, not The Office that you guys have in America, The Office in the UK. And we're watching that, and I'm just like, man, if I ever filmed something to Michelle, I said it would look like this. It would look like Spaced. And she goes, "Well, you should write something and just do it." I was like, "Really? You think so?" You know? And I love movies. She knew I loved movies. I've always had a passion for movies. And so me and her actually, it was me and my wife. We wrote a little pilot to a TV show called La Church, right, which was based in a church. It was like The Office in a church, very spaced. It was it looked like the show Spaced, and I filmed that thinking that's it, that would be the end of it. Like, I invited some friends, we played it on a projector at the church, and I thought that would be cool. I did.
Yeah,
I made
you
something.
did, I'm gonna enjoy it, and then that's it.
Yeah, and then we made
Yeah.
DVDs, and those DVDs went everywhere. People started copying them and stuff.
Wow.
The actors that were in it started getting like autographs in Soriana. Like they were walking through Soriana, and people like,
You were making all the actors famous.
and I'm like, what's going on? And this thing just started to duplicate, and it ended up for me landing my first feature film, which was Corazón de Campeón, but like which is, it's actually right here. It's based off a book. It's actually based off a book. This is my very first film ever.
Corazón de Campeón, and it's in Spanish. Comienzo,
Yeah.
amistad, multiplicación, pasión,
Oh yeah.
elección, obediencia, necesidad. Sounds good. Check this out.
And it's crazy because I know nothing about filmmaking. All of a sudden I got a feature film and it's in theaters, and you know.
Well, but that's how I learn, by doing.
Right.
If I don't do it, I mean, it's hard for me to like study and read.
Right.
I have to do it.
Exactly. And then
Good.
I ended up on a friend's film set in America, and there's some producers there, and we just started talking. We hit it off really good, and they're like, "Well, what's your next film?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to make a film," you know, and I threw him the script, and I didn't know if he would ever read it or not, but like the next weekend, he calls me up. He said, I read the script. I said, "You like it?" He said, "It's crap, but I see what you want to do." And so
But
me,
you got the idea.
so me and that producer decided to, rewrite everything, and that's what
This came
Beautiful
out?
Prison is.
I actually seen the trailer.
Yeah.
I think. I actually High Desert Spirit.
That has
is
Ernesto
really,
D'Alessio in it.
Yeah.
Do you know who Lupita D'Alessio is?
I know. But how you end up meeting them?
Ernesto D'Alessio was he was actually at a church he was visiting a church.
Yeah.
He was visiting a church that I was working at, and we were having a script read through at that point, and we were using the facility. And he walked by, and we just started talking, and he's like, "Well, send me the script. Let me see," because I was looking for the bad
No,
guy.
but he grew up acting.
Yeah, he's an actor.
He's
Yeah,
a
like.
famous actor.
And so I just threw him the script, not really thinking. And the next day, he's like, "I got to be in this movie. This is the greatest script
I
I've
saw
ever read.
the trailer. I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
But I saw it.
You should watch the movie." And I said, "There's no way," because he's been acting his whole life. I said, "There's no way I can pay you.
That's what you
I can't
told
pay.
him.
Yeah, I can't pay you what you get paid."
Yeah.
He said, "I love the script so much, I'll do it for free."
Good.
And Ernesto did that for free.
Wow.
And we had a great
That's
time.
amazing.
And I have nothing but good things to say about Ernesto
Oh,
D'Alessio.
no, yeah.
He was amazing on screen and off screen, both of those, just awesome. And then it just, that's what kept going. And then an interesting how do we get to America story is I'm there, I'm making films, right?
In Mexico.
In Mexico.
Yeah.
And my wife got really sick. She was really, really sick. And so she went to the doctor, and they told her that she had cancer, and she only had 13 years to live. 13. And so we were thinking, okay, I said, "Honey, God healed me. He's going to heal you too. Let's get a second opinion." We went and got a second opinion. They said, "Well, we got good news and we got bad news." And I said, "What?" They said, "The good news is you're pregnant with my second child." Because I already had Asia. Pregnant with, because Asia was 3 at that time, or something like that. And we were pregnant with a boy. And I'm thinking, how am I going to raise 2 kids alone, And I'm like, no. God's going to heal. He goes, "The bad news is you only have about 10 years to live." And so I was like, okay. And Sagebrush Church, that big church down the road, they'd been wanting to hire me to come to do film for them. And I was like, nah, I never want to go back to America. I love Mexico. I don't want to go back to America. But when this happened, when we got that second diagnosis, I was like, you know what? If God sometimes heals through doctors. And as missionaries, we didn't have any insurance. So I said, what if we go out there? Because there were several churches that wanted to hire me to do film. And so I was like, okay, let's go check this church out. Because we had to go to Houston to start treatments. Because we were going to do...
And with no insurance, that's...
Well, I would have insurance if I had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If I had a job. So we went to do the tests and the treatments and stuff. We start there in Houston. So we went to Houston, did that. And then we went to Albuquerque. We came here. And I remember I opened the door and it was so hot in Albuquerque. Like, it's hotter than Mexico. It's
It's
like,
snowing right now.
well, it's snowing now, but it was Father's Day. So, right? So
yeah.
that's when it's like the heat is crazy. And I remember, and I kid you not, when my foot hit New Mexico soil, the instant it hit New Mexico soil, we got a phone call. And it was the doctors in Houston. And they said, we can't explain what's going on, but we can't find any cancer in your wife anymore. It's gone.
Really?
And I knew that God, this is where He wanted me.
And you stayed here.
And we stayed here. And I took the job. and you know, obviously I'm a New Mexico filmmaker now. Everyone kind of knows that, you know.
And she never ever had like a, you know, sometimes cancer comes back.
Nope. We've gone, we've checked, everything's good. She was totally healed.
And the baby healthy and everything.
I got 4 kids now. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And that was just God, just you know, and I was stubborn, I was big-headed, and actually God had years prior told me, hey, I need you to go back to the U.S. because I got some work for you, and I just ignored it. I'm big-headed. I felt like if I came back, I would have failed as a missionary.
He finds his way of like, yeah, this is where you need to be.
Yeah, and no, everything's been great, you know, and being part of the New Mexico film, you know, I you're probably one of the first people I think I met, you know.
I met you
When did we meet?
years ago when I was having problems with my first film.
No, it's
No? No? Yeah.
okay. Tell the story.
Well, that I have such a bad memory. But
I think we met before. I think you had auditioned a couple times.
Yeah.
You'd
For
auditioned a couple things for
the church
for certain
some
films, right?
music
Short films and stuff,
videos or
music videos.
something of yours, and he never casted me.
I'm sorry I didn't cast you.
No.
I did cast you
Totally
eventually.
understand. I mean, like I think that's when I was starting auditioning, and I was in the short. I'm still not the best, but I needed the practice,
Right.
and I thank you for that opportunity because every single gig that I get is something that makes you grow and learn,
Yeah.
and I think it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The music video.
Oh, that we did together?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's one of my
I mean
favorites.
that video, I've gotten emails from people who are going through the same thing because there were 2 separate stories. There was yours,
Yeah,
the drug
I was
addict.
the drug addict alcoholic who came out of it.
Yeah, and then there was another girl who had lost her baby.
Lost her baby.
And I've gotten a lot of emails, you know, about on both sides, you know, and now to think that it plays at every concert that these people do, that's just wild to me, right?
Yeah, I think someone. I
It's-
think I haven't shared that for a while. It's been a couple
Right.
of years, but I think someone told me that saw me on that video. So
Yeah, what's crazy is, so the lead singer of that band, he's like looking in YouTube, and he always takes down, he'll issue a takedown on like fan videos, and because that's what it is essentially. It's just
It's fun. Okay.
yeah,
So-
like we
so-
didn't get permission from the band.
Oh yeah.
we didn't
That's
get
what
the
I was
permission
gonna
from the
ask
band.
you.
We just
you
right.
like that song and you had the idea
Exactly.
of doing it, and then you did it without asking the
Right.
lawyer, like because then it's the copyright thinking, and then you have to ask permission, and you have
Yeah, exactly. And so like he's looking through these, and he's just taking things off the internet, and he sees this one. He's like, "What is this?" Like, and he watches it. He's in bed, and he's watching. He goes, "What?" To his wife. He's like, "Honey,
You have to
Wake up.
see this.
look at this." And then they reached out to me.
Wow.
You know, they came to Albuquerque and you know, they were doing a show here, and so and wanted, you know, we went out to dinner. They bought me dinner, and they said, "Hey, can we use this video?" I was like, "Yeah." Like I didn't even get permission to make it. So,
yeah.
but like no, you know, you were working on a film.
Yeah, I was working on my first short film because I wanted to learn everything that had to be involved with behind and in front of camera.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about writing or anything. And you helped me, you rescued me, and you made out of that little short film make it look really decent. Because you had no. I remember the first time you saw it. I said, "What is this?"
I was-
I don't know. I need help.
And you know what? And that's the thing. That's the advice I will say. Don't blow smoke up people's butt. Like with her, she comes, she's like, "Here's my film. What do you think?" I remember I was watching it and I just shut the laptop. I just shut it on her, and I was like,
What
is
are you
really bad.
doing? And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. But that's how I learned, like by doing. So
Right.
and I'm glad that I was brave enough to do it. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you fixed it.
Yeah, and then and we talked and we came up with a price, and
Yeah, I don't know.
I went in, I cut things, I fixed
and
it,
you know what? It won an award.
and it won an award after
In
that.
LA,
Look at that.
and I didn't really submit it anywhere. Like I just
Yeah.
once submitted in a couple whatever, and it won an award in LA.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm like, I couldn't even believe it.
And that's
It was
kinda
that
when-
bad. And I'm like, did I win? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when our friendship started and stuff. So, and then you host a pretty good film festival here
I
every
still
year.
do it
Yeah.
every year.
And I was on the panel this year.
Yeah, last year, 22.
And I met
Yeah.
some people, and we already shot together. Because they were on your panel.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy because I met Kurt Young on that panel,
Alright.
and he does the Santa Fe Film Festival.
He's the founder.
He's the founder.
He started like 22 years ago.
22 years ago.
I want to interview him too.
And we talked, we hit it off great. And then
He's
like
a
literally
cool guy.
2 weeks later, I'm filming in his new studio. You know what I'm saying?
The new one, the one that, yeah.
So like our friendship has, you win awards, I meet people. It's great.
You maybe I'm shining everywhere in every single church out there.
Yeah.
No, that's good, and that's the purpose of the festival, to connect one and when I saw you guys working with Jerry and
Yeah, so Jerry
all of them,
and
I was
Aubrey,
so
we
happy.
just shot. We
it
shot.
makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
It keeps me ongoing with the festival.
Right.
When I see things like that, it's like this is what I wanted. Like,
Exactly.
Like
I didn't even know. I think I was coming back from a con,
yeah.
and I just I went in for one really quick and really out, and
You missed the whole thing.
I did. I
You
missed
know
the whole
what?
festival,
I mean,
but I made it for my panel.
You made it, and I appreciate it. You were there. No, I know you're busy. I'm busy. All of these people are really busy people, and I appreciate your help.
Yeah.
Being there.
But it was crazy, and now we're all working together.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But how's
like-
it going? I want to see.
Oh, you should see the stuff we shot. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'll have to show you when it's done.
Yeah.
It's great. I've actually been off all week because we filmed in crazy amount.
It feels. How do you feel when you're on set? Because to me, it's like vacations. I mean, it's work, but I enjoy it so much. It's just like it has this energy that is so
Yeah.
hard to describe.
There's
I don't know.
yeah. So there's two places in this world where I just when I'm there, I lose myself. I'm the most comfortable. I feel at home. One is on stage preaching. The other one is on set. When I'm on set, it's like this is my world. I know everything that's gonna happen today. I know how to correct. I can see when things go bad. I know exactly what I need to do to correct it. I have the answers. This is what I'm good at. This is what I made.
How long you been doing it? This other...
Oh gosh, now I don't know. I mean, I would say around 2007. So
That's
it's
almost I started.
17, 21, 15 years.
And I have to say something though. The few things that I know about lenses and camera, it was thanks to you.
Oh,
And
thank
I
you.
appreciate that. I
Oh.
remember I was like, I want to do my second film, and I don't want to go through the same thing that happened to me at the first one. And I remember asking your
Yeah.
help and say, bring me on set just to see how you guys do it.
Oh yeah, I remember that. What were we
and
filming? You came on set.
Yeah, and just to see, and I appreciate that seriously. And
I forgot
literally,
about that.
He just I was on the way most of the time, but he was all like, "This is the lens, and you wanna do the frame and so on." So, and I still remember things about that day, and thanks to you, I learned.
What can you remind me what? Because I filmed hundreds of commercials and hundreds of things here.
It was in a coffee shop, and that was before college.
Before COVID.
And I just was there trying not to be on the way, and I do
Coffee
appreciate
shop.
you were opening. This is the lens. This is the da da da. Did you use this one when it's a medium shot or things like that?
Yes.
And it helped me a lot. I mean, I still don't have a pro camera or
Yeah.
any lenses. I don't know. I use
Well-
my cell phone. As
well,
you
listen.
can see.
I've been making films. I have feature films. I have hundreds of commercials, Nintendo commercials, PlayStation. I've never owned a camera in my life.
You don't like to be in front of the camera. Is that what you're saying?
No,
Or
I've
you
never
don't like-
owned one.
You never
I don't
owned one.
own a camera.
Yeah, because I remember that day you were saying that that equipment was from Georgia.
Yeah, I've never owned a camera, or when I'm on big shoots, I mean, they just provide the camera. We rent the lenses, we rent everything.
Actually, my second short film, I did it with a camera, a small camera. But since after that, I've been doing everything on my cell phone.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's more practical. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
heavy. I
Right.
just bring my tripod, my 2 lights, and my that I use, whatever.
So yeah, and I, that's I feel at home on set. I feel comfortable, and I love it.
Me too. I like to be in both. I like to be behind, and I like to be definitely in front. And crying.
Yeah, you do.
laughing.
I don't. Yeah, I don't care if I act. I don't need to act ever.
It's
That's
fun.
not
It's
my.
fun.
That's
It's
not where I'm. That's not my
So
calling.
you're a good director. Maybe you direct, you produce, and you write,
Yes.
and you edit.
Yes. And there's a lot of films that you've probably seen that I may have written.
Yeah.
Or not, like, like New Mexico stuff where I've had input.
You see how you got? You see how you are? We start talking about film, and I can't stop now.
Yeah. But well, here's the thing. You know what's crazy is a lot of people, and a lot of people are like, Joel lives and breathes film. But honestly, if I never made another film again, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I don't find my identity in what I do. I find my identity in God. And so, like, I've been offered to go to California. I've been offered to do bigger and better things, especially after Beautiful Prison dropped. I had a 2-picture deal, and I said, I just want to raise my family right now. And I took a whole lot of time off of making a film, until, and then I came back. It's funny because when I came back, I went to your festival, and then, I was like, okay, I'm ready to get back in the film. And then we did Behind the Yellow House after that. And now I got 3 feature films lined up this year.
Easy.
Yeah, so like, and I even said, hey, I just want to take a break. Oh, you'll never work in this business. You need to do it now when you're hot. And I said, I don't care, man. Like, that's not where I find my identity. I find my identity in Christ. And that's what's, and when you can get to a point like that, then you can call your own shots. You don't have to, live in this, like, because if the movie industry is crazy.
It is insane.
It is bananas.
It is.
And I like to make my own rules in that insane world. And if you can't adhere to my rules, I don't care. I won't make a movie.
I think being a son of God, it might be really difficult to combine the film with that, because it is crazy.
Right.
It
Yeah.
gets crazy.
And there's a lot of things I don't do. Like, even with, when I was approached to do Behind the Yellow House, I said, well, there's a big orgy scene here. I'm not going to film that. I'm not going to film this, that, and the other, because I have a standard that I won't. I'm not.
To be honest, when it comes to stuff like that, sometimes it's not needed. Film
100%.
is something magical. It's magic.
Yeah.
Film is magic. Like, you can remove things and still
Well,
tell the story
Yeah.
without any need of bad words, of
Right.
sex scenes and stuff like that.
Well, even so that scene was in the script, and basically what I ended up doing was, it's all in silhouettes outside of a window. You don't see nothing. You just see the silhouettes and you hear it. And this is something Alfred Hitchcock did beautifully, because he wouldn't show a lot of the things, because what the audience can imagine is better than what I can put on
I
film.
was gonna say that.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes, like playing with the brain of people and me, like imagining things, it works way more better
Right.
than just having to see the whole thing. There's no need.
Exactly.
That's what I was
Nothing
saying.
I can put on film is going to be better than what you can see in your head.
Exactly.
So,
And that's magic. I mean, there's no need to put a bunch of stuff in.
Right.
Boom. No, like, let people use their brains.
yeah, exactly. So, and and it's good being there, being like, hey, listen, I have ethics, I have a standard, I have a way that I want to live,
Boundaries.
and I'm not going to, because the movie industry will try to break you. the movie industry will try to. I don't even know how much I want to say. I just want to say that it's like,
No, you have to have a strong foundation, and you have to be solid in your beliefs,
Yeah.
in your boundaries. And it's not just in the film industry; it's anywhere.
Yeah.
So
100%.
starts from
you say it so well. Yes.
Yeah, because we can go name it. I don't know, a
Right.
club.
Yeah. And I just say in the
You know what I
movie
mean?
industry because that's where I live, right? So like these are my standards. I'm not going to go against those, right? And so, but when you know who you are and you don't identify with, you don't find your identity in what you do, you know.
But it
If you
comes
can-
from self-love again. Like I know my boundaries. I know whatever. I have to be strong. I can get involved in this group of people who they have the freedom to do whatever.
Right.
But they have to respect also my boundaries.
Right.
Like I can hang out with you and you can do whatever, but I don't want to do that. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And which is difficult.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's difficult.
Well, like especially being a Latin Christian filmmaker, you know, like we shot a scene over at Hannah and Nate's, you know, the restaurant, and we had a bunch of extras there that we had found, you know, from the extras thing. And if you know me, if you've worked with me, you know I pray before I film. I start filming. So I start praying, and like 3 or 4 extras didn't like that, and when I got done praying, they were gone. You know what I mean? And so sometimes, you
But
know.
I think I prefer that than them to stay. And
Oh yeah.
You know?
But it's just like there's those things that I encounter sometimes because of who I am and my
but
beliefs.
also I think
And I don't care about
the
it.
boundaries. I think we have to respect other people. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different
Right.
point of view, different whatever. I think we all have to be united
Yeah,
and be respectful one to it, and that won't happen. But you
Yeah.
know,
and that's the thing. Like if they were like, if it was their set, and they're like, hey, you know, we got this, and like, it's
Something
against
that
my
doesn't-
beliefs
yeah.
or something. But they believe in that. I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, I respect what you want to do. I don't ever ask people, hey, you know, if you're gonna be on my set, you got to pray with me. You got to accept Jesus in your heart. Blah 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 blah. No, I never do that. Like it's like, hey, I'll even say, if you don't believe in God, you know, just give me 1 second. Just, you know,
just give me my time.
just give me
Yeah.
2 seconds to cover us, protect us. Boom, let's start film. You know.
I remember you doing that day. Yeah, I remember you doing that when I have worked with you before.
Yeah. So
So, but also you do animation, right?
animation.
Animation or video games? Is it video?
Oh
games?
yeah, video games. So right now there's a bunch of people. I don't even know what they think about all this. I have no idea because I can't hear them. I can't. You know, but they hear everything we're saying right now.
Oh, cool.
And so yeah, like I've been reviewing games for a long time. We do cons. I've hosted the Mortal Kombat panels, gosh, for the last 7 years or something. I don't know. And like all the guys you see on the screen, they're there with me. We do panels. You know, every Saturday night. What happened was when COVID hit, we started to stream. My friend Radical Reggie was like, it was actually, I believe it was his idea. It's like, man, these people are shut in their homes. They need a place to come on Saturday nights and hang out. And since COVID, we've been doing it every Saturday night. And you can see people in the chat. Guys, say hello if you hear us. You know, and they come out every Saturday night and they hang out with us as we play games. They're waiting for me to get back to it. But I told them, you know, if I could just do this interview real quick, you know. And so, but yeah, you know, it's been interesting. I met a lot of cool people through that, you know, and of course I do the cons here too, you know, Albuquerque Cow Con and that stuff, and I'll cover those events.
You have a really interesting story from here to Mexico, from Mexico back to the US, from drugs to clean meds, from medicine to drugs, from it's wow. What would you recommend people that are in drugs? What would you like advise them or tell them?
I'd say first of all, find someone to talk to, get help. If you believe in God, r- cry out to Him. Cry out to Him, and you might be amazed at what can happen. But if you don't, I would seek help. My wife and I started Oasis. Well, we didn't start it. Another lady started Oasis in Mexico, and then we came in and helped and kept it alive, and it grew. It's a drug rehab center for drug addicts and prostitutes, and we have about 80 people in there.
Yeah, most
all
of
the
the
time.
women prostitute so that they can afford
Right.
the addiction.
And we do stick to kind of the it's very God-centered, but it's also like NA rules and regulations. One day at a time. Take it one day at a time. Take it one day at a time. Seek help though. Don't do it alone. Don't try to.
There's no more beautiful than living life clean.
Oh yeah.
If like this, I don't remember things. Just imagine I were doing drugs.
Right. Yeah. Well, well, here's the thing. It's if God can take a drug addict, paranoid, schizophrenic like myself, and make it. I mean, you walk through my house, you see, you know my life, you see my family. I feel like I'm a successful person,
You are.
and I've made it. If He can do that with me, imagine what He could do with whoever's listening to this. Anyone who yeah, it's like, but it was really just, I surrendered it to Him. And that's my number one advice, is surrender yourself to God. Let Him take care of it. Because I am not smart enough to write the movies I write. I'm not smart enough to do, even before, you don't know that, I forgot to tell you this.
What?
So in Mexico, after I was living with the Otomi Indians, I actually moved to Saltillo, cerca de Monterrey.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Coahuila. And I'm just sitting there, and someone sent me an old tape of me playing bass on the stage, when I was trying to fulfill my brother's dream. But all I got to was playing in bars. And I'm sitting there watching it with a friend, and a guy walks in, and he has a friend, and he goes, "Hey, are you a bass player?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, we're looking for a bass player." And then within a week, I'm playing with this band, and then we're touring, and then I end up touring with Marcos Witt, who was the biggest praise and worship leader, and I did that for years.
I like his music.
And yeah, and I played stadiums, and I fulfilled my brother's dream.
Wow.
That after I got right with God, you know what I'm saying? Like everything that I've been able to achieve, I wouldn't have been able to achieve it without Him.
He has his angels protecting you, and He knows better what you've been through too. It's not easy to grow up and have a childhood like that, where both of your parents are drug addicts, and I don't know, but you went through it. You want to go back? You're okay.
No, I'm just reading what they're saying.
Oh, I can't see, I'm blind.
Nah, yeah. No, they're just talking about if I was gonna announce my live action Bugs next film, but he's just joking. But I do have 3 features coming up. I don't know how much I can say. One is gonna blow people's minds. Like, I can't even believe I'm involved in it.
Really?
Yeah, like it blows my mind. And one is with a good friend. It's a horror anthology, and it'll probably be my last dip into horror. I think I'll be moving on. And then, I mean, you know Jerry, you could check with him, but we have something in store for you guys, because he's being inducted into the New Mexico Hall of Fame for film next weekend, and I'll be there. But You know, he's produced 18 films at this point, and so me and him are venturing out together.
Good,
And
yeah.
so you'll have 3 new Joel Valley films coming soon.
Okay, as a filmmaker now, what would you like advise to other filmmakers? Because it's a really tough industry.
Mm-hmm. Easy. Don't waste your time with film school. Just believe in yourself and just go do it.
Yeah, good.
Just go do it. Believe in yourself and just go do it, because I know so many. Okay, I've been doing film for 20 some years, right? So like, I know so many film school student graduates who have spent the last 15 years trying to get their first film off the ground, and they still haven't.
I think that's the most difficult part of the industry, that you can write, you can produce, you can edit, you can add music, but then that line between the final product to where it's going, that's a hard one.
If you have a good script, it's not hard at all. I had nothing. I had no one, but I had a good script and I got everything. If you can write a good script, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you believe in yourself, because a producer wants to see confidence. They want to make sure, can this guy pull it off? When a producer talks to me, they have no doubt, oh, this guy can pull it off. You know what I mean? Because of the confidence I have in myself,
you know
the
what
confidence
you're
that God gave me.
Yeah.
Well, now, you know, my work speaks for.
doing. Experience.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have to
so
get
I
it
don't,
when
you
it's
know,
a while.
But if you're just starting, be naive. Think that you can do anything and you will be able to. You know, it was my stupidity, my ignorance in how much a movie costs. I'm like, yeah, we could do that, right? For like, you know, $500, and then
No, it's
the next thing you
expensive.
know, it's like you're at $50,000, and you're like, whoa, okay, you know, like you don't, when you're first starting, you
Even
don't
a
understand.
short film, even a 7-minute short
Yeah.
film, it could get expensive.
Yeah, you don't understand these things.
Yeah.
It's okay. You don't need to. Like, just do it, and then worry about all that stuff later. It's like, you know, like Kevin Smith, you know, he just put everything on his credit card. I don't advise to put your stuff on a credit card, but that's almost the stupidity you need to have to get to that next level. Like you said, that hard part, you know?
Yeah, because most of the filmmakers get stuck in that line.
Yeah.
They have the script, they write it, they have the team, people work for free, they exchange this and that, they film it, they edit it, they add the music, they add everything, and it could be beautiful. It could end up a beautiful project, but then after that, it ends up on YouTube, and which I'm not saying is a bad
Right.
thing, because it's not a bad thing, but they don't know what else.
If
is
you're
after
talking about
that.
sales,
I don't know what
like
else
the
is after that.
distribution,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
distribution of filming is. I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. Like, I'm so glad I've gotten to a point where, you know, someone else handles it. But like, that is the worst part of it. Is like when you are finding someone to get it out there for you. That's tough.
And then you will spend so much money, and then you're like, how can I get this money back? I mean, now that it's done, it's difficult. So we have to talk about this next time.
Sure. Yeah, that's a whole nother.
That's a different interview.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
is.
totally different interview.
It is.
It would be nice to talk about that, because I see a lot of people struggling.
Well, at least
Or
it
they
made it,
just don't know.
or at least they made it to YouTube, because there's so many films I've been asked to be a part of here, and you know, I lay low. I try to lay low in New Mexico, and people still like, hey, you want to direct this? Do you? I'm like, just no thanks. And I hear them shoot about it, and I never hear it. Never went anywhere. You know, that's crazy.
Well, you have the right to say no and yes. I think you know better what you have to feel it.
Right? Yeah.
You have
Oh
to
yeah,
feel
yeah,
it,
yeah.
You know, and
I'm very picky about what I do at this point, but.
yeah. Well, this was a great interview. I thank you, and I appreciate you sharing your experience, your life, your privacy with us.
Oh yeah, I wonder what these guys
Thank
think.
you
I don't know if they
so
heard it or
much.
not, but
Yeah, I'm gonna be uploading this interview on my YouTube channel, Carmen Dahlman.
how do you spell? Like for my audience,
Okay.
tell them what's.
in the sexy voice.
How to,
and a
yeah,
scary
sure,
voice.
sure. No. Tell them how to spell it and everything if they want to go see.
Okay, Carmen, Carmen Dahlman, Dahlman.
Don't forget the
Dahlman,
H.
don't forget the H.
So go check her out. She's doing some new things.
And seriously, all my interviews are really interesting. Everybody has a story to tell, and we have something to learn from everybody. So thank you for
100%. I agree.
Yeah, definitely, and thank you so much. And I hope to see you soon again.
Oh yeah, anytime. You know me.
Yeah. So okay. So
I even stopped my stream.
I know it. I appreciate it. You look so good. Look.
They're still playing.
I know.
I'm probably just dead in the corner somewhere. So
It's okay. You're gonna get an extra life.
yeah.
Okay. Bye guys. Thank you.
Thank you.